Y'all, tell me why young Jock was spotted alone in a dimly lit Atlanta church crying into his palms like the devil himself whispered in his ear? 1 week. Just 1 week after his own reported death. Wait, death? Oh yeah, you heard that right. Because according to multiple sources, and by sources, we mean Jock's cousin's ex-girlfriend's group chat, young Jock was declared dead last week. So why is he now pacing the pews like he's haunted by secrets no priest could ever forgive? Was it a resurrection? A publicity stunt? Some VH1 voodoo resurrection clause we don't know about? Or is Jock running from something way deeper, like a truth so dark even Mona Scott wouldn't dare film it? Eyewitnesses say he walked into that church with no cameras, no entourage, and no explanation. Just raw tears and a tattered Love and Hip Hop hoodie. And here's the kicker, the organ started playing by itself. Allegedly. So buckle up, grab your holy water, and please whatever you do don't blink. Because what we're about to uncover might be more scandalous than Carly Red's entire dating history. They say Atlanta never sleeps, but something fell off that Sunday morning. It was just before 9 a.m., early enough that the city's usual chaos hadn't kicked in. No flashing cameras, no Love and Hip Hop crew, just silence. That kind of silence that wraps around your bones and whispers, something ain't right. And then he walked in. Young Jock. Yes, that young Jock. The man who, just 1 week ago, was the centerpiece of a death rumor that spread faster than wildfire through Instagram blogs, Twitter threads, and shady TikTok voiceovers. Rest in peace. Jock had trended for 8 hours straight. People lit candles. Old clips of his cornrows resurfaced. Even Bet quietly archived his tribute video only to unlist it 48 hours later. And now here he was, standing in the middle of a pew, wearing the same outfit people swore he was buried in, alone, crying. The few parishioners who were present that day swear he wasn't just sad, he was broken. Head bowed so low it nearly touched the floor. Shoulders trembling. Silent sobs echoing louder than the preacher's sermon ever could. No cameras, no security, just Jock. And something he couldn't leave behind. Now before we go any further, we need to rewind because nothing about this adds up. First of all, what really happened last week? Was young Jock ever actually dead? Or was it something deeper, something more spiritual? Was this another reality TV stunt? Or was Jock's name tied to something so cursed it couldn't be posted on Shade Room without mysteriously vanishing 10 minutes later? Let's go back to July 26, the night the news broke. An anonymous account posted a black and white photo of young Jock with a caption that simply said, "Gone too soon. Atlanta's own." No details, no confirmation, but the streets, they ran with it. Jock's old castmates went quiet. KD Lewis, his ex-fiancée and longtime on and off flame, posted a single dove emoji on her story. And just hours later, KD's own cousin tweeted, "He didn't deserve what they did to him." Did what to him? Suddenly, Jock's whole timeline was wiped. His Instagram gone, his Twitter locked, even his Cameo profile was down. It was as if he vanished digitally, like someone didn't want him remembered the way we knew him. Then came the funeral whispers. An invite-only memorial was allegedly held in a private Atlanta venue. Attendees were required to sign NDAs. No phones, no photos. One guest who later leaked a blurry video of the flower arrangements claimed Jock's casket was empty. That's right, no body. Just a chain, a faded pair of sunglasses, and a folded Love and Hip Hop contract. Meanwhile, Jock's family refused to comment. His mother was spotted outside her home, shielding her face. Reporters were told to leave it alone. And KD Lewis? She posted this cryptic message on her story. "Not everything that's dead stays gone. Now let's pause." Because here's where things take a turn. Exactly 7 days later, a woman named Deirdre, a church elder at New Light Tabernacle, claimed she arrived early for morning service and found Jock already inside, sitting in the third pew, alone, crying. She didn't recognize him at first. She thought it was a lost soul, maybe someone homeless or going through withdrawal. But as she approached, she heard him whisper, "I didn't ask for this. I just wanted peace." Peace from what? The fame? The rumors? The curse? Let's not forget, Jock wasn't always the butt of every VH1 joke. There was a time when he had hits. A time when "It's Going Down" wasn't just a meme, it was an anthem. But fame's funny, it builds you up just to watch you crash. And Jock? He crashed hard. Failed business ventures, broken relationships, a DUI, baby mama drama, allegations. And then, the curse. Some insiders believe this so-called curse began during the final filming of Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta Season 12, where Jock allegedly exposed something that was never meant to air. Rumors swirl that producers forced him to record confessionals, threatened to blackball him, and eventually cut him out of Season 13 altogether. That's when things got weird. Jock reportedly began acting paranoid. He was seen burning sage during shoots, wearing a protective crystal necklace, and asking makeup artists to bless the mirror before he entered dressing rooms. One par called him whispering, "They're watching me through the cameras." But it ain't security I'm worried about. By now, Jock's mental state was being questioned. But what if he wasn't paranoid, just aware? What if he saw something or someone that convinced him he was next? Because here's the thing about Jock's tears in that church. They weren't tears of guilt. They were tears of warning. Something had followed him. Something he thought was gone, but never truly left. Deirdre claims that as he cried, the church organ started playing on its own. She thought it was the wind, or maybe someone backstage. But the tune? It was faint, almost like a hum. And she swears it was the same melody from the Love and Hip Hop theme song slowed down, like a funeral march. That's when Jock stood up. He looked at the altar, and then turned toward the confessional booth. And what he said next shook her to her soul. It was meant for sins whispered in the dark, for secrets too dangerous to say aloud. But that morning, in that quiet church, young Jock stepped into it like a man carrying not just guilt but a curse. Deirdre, the church elder, stayed frozen by the pew. She watched as he slowly walked across the creaky wooden floor, his hands trembling, the tears now dry but his face haunted like he'd seen the devil in a dressing room mirror and couldn't unsee it. He opened the door, stepped inside, and shut it. For a minute, nothing happened. Then, a voice. "I didn't die because I was supposed to. I died because they needed me gone." That was the first sentence Jock said in the booth. Deirdre wasn't supposed to hear it, but she did. Something about the acoustics in that church. Or maybe the spirits wanted her to listen, because what Jock confessed wasn't just dark, it was devastating, according to him. The last few months before his death weren't just chaotic, they were controlled. He described a growing paranoia on the Love and Hip Hop set. Cameras would stay rolling long after scenes were wrapped. His private dressing room started feeling watched. Every time he tried to speak his truth in a confessional, producers would cut the mic. "They told me to play dumb." That KD's situation was off limits. Now, what was this KD situation? Katia KD, Louis Jock's ex, former fiancé, business partner, and arguably the only woman who ever seemed to know who the real Jock was. Their relationship was public, passionate, and plagued by constant breakups and betrayals. But what the cameras never showed was what happened in Season 12, during the unaired Red Room shoot. This was a behind-the-scenes spin-off shoot meant for a potential Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta Secrets and Scandals series. Sources say KD showed up late, visibly shaken. She reportedly told producers she'd discovered something involving old contracts, buried footage, and a ritual Jock had unknowingly participated in back into a 1/6. A ritual? Now we're getting into territory most producers refuse to speak on. But Jock, he spilled everything in that confessional booth. He said in 2016, during the peak of his TV fame, he was invited to a private celebration at a Hollywood Hills mansion hosted by executives linked to multiple VH1 and Bet properties. The invite said a night of transformation. Jock thought it was just industry code for a party with cameras and champagne, but when he arrived, things were different. The house had no windows. Everyone was in masks, and before he was allowed in, he had to sign a blank contract. KD wasn't with him that night. She was out of town. But later, she told him something changed in him after that party. He couldn't sleep. His eyes twitched constantly. He became paranoid. And suddenly, his career, which had been slowing down, started surging again. Cameos, spin-offs, endorsement deals, all at once. It wasn't until 2024 that KD discovered something terrifying. Footage from that night, hidden in a mislabeled hard drive sent to her by mistake during a production equipment transfer. The footage allegedly showed Jock chanting, surrounded by figures in red robes. A woman in gold, her face blurred, anointing his forehead with something dark. Jock never remembered any of it, but the nightmares began shortly after, and that's when the ghosting started. Not dating-style ghosting, real ghosting, phones. ringing with no one on the other end. Lights flickering on set when he entered the room. One makeup artist quit after she claimed she saw a second jock walk behind her in the mirror, even though he was still in the chair. KD warned him, "They don't give you fame for free." Jock tried to confront production, asked them what he signed. They laughed it off, told him he was stressed, said he needed rest, but he knew better, because that's when he started planning his death. Not literally, symbolically. He knew the only way out was to disappear, to become irrelevant, to be forgotten. Before they made sure he was. The death announcement? That was Jock's plan. He had a close friend, someone in PR, leak a fake tribute image. He coordinated the posts, the DM to the shade room, even the blurry funeral invite. It was all a distraction, a smokescreen to make people stop looking for him. But KD didn't approve. She thought it was too dangerous. She told him, "You can't fake your death if you've already signed your soul away." But Jock didn't listen, until it was too late, because 2 days after the death post went viral, KD died. For real. A car accident on a side street in Atlanta. No witnesses. Her vehicle flipped. No skid marks. No signs of struggle. Just impact. But her phone? Missing. Gone. And Jock? Shattered. He didn't attend her funeral. How could he? He was dead. But her death broke him in a way fame never did. And now, here he was, in a booth, in a church, begging for something no contract could give him. Absolution. He whispered. Again. "I saw her last night. She stood at the foot of my bed. She said, 'You didn't save me. Now they'll come for you too.'" Was he hallucinating? Dreaming? Or was KD trying to warn him from beyond? Deirdre wanted to walk away. She really did. But something glued her feet to the floor. And then, Jock opened the door, slowly, eyes bloodshot, face pale. He didn't look like Jock anymore. He looked like someone who'd been touched by something unnatural. He walked past her, didn't say a word, but in his hand he held something, a red envelope. It had no address. No stamp, just a single word etched in gold across the front, retribution. And that was when the church doors flew open without anyone touching them. The organ began playing again, and outside, the sky turned dark. Even though it was only 10:15 in the morning, the church had gone completely silent. The echo of the organ still lingered in the air, though no one had touched a single key in minutes. Young Jock stood outside, hands trembling, holding the red envelope like it was about to explode. His fingers twitched, sweat dripping from his forehead, and his chest heaving with something between guilt and dread. The envelope felt heavier now, like it wasn't paper anymore but metal, pulsing with something unseen. Then his phone vibrated. No ringtone, no caller ID, just a slow, dragging vibration, like it didn't want to be noticed, but had to be felt. He answered. "We warned you," came a hollow, distorted voice. "She doesn't just speak in dreams anymore. She speaks through everything." Click. Silence again. Jock looked down. The envelope was already open. He didn't even remember opening it. Inside wasn't a letter. There was just a tiny black memory card. Plain, unlabeled, but scorching, hot to the touch. His heart stopped. KD. She recorded everything. Every fight, every deal, every whisper. Her catchphrase had always been, "You don't need trust in this industry, just receipts." This was one. Without another thought, he drove across town to a forgotten editing bay buried beneath an old studio. Terry Diggs Benjamin, an old friend, worked there now, someone Jock hadn't seen in years but once quietly paid for his daughter's surgery. No questions asked, no favors owed. When Jock handed Diggs the memory card, Diggs looked at him only once and said, "Say less." They powered up the system, plugged in the card. The screen blinked, then static, then a countdown. 10, 9, 8. Diggs chuckled nervously. "Yo, is this thing gonna blow?" Jock didn't laugh. He didn't blink. Then the screen lit up. October 14, 2024. A dressing room. KD Lewis sat alone, makeup half done, eyes sunken, voice brittle. Something in her stare wasn't fear, it was resignation. "If you're watching this, I'm either dead or silenced." Her voice cracked, but her gaze was steel. She held up a contract from the original Love and Hip Hop production. In the corner was a strange symbol, a spiral eye wrapped in thorns. This symbol isn't public. It's not branding. It's a seal, a binding. She tapped on her phone, switching the feed to show old clips, a 1982 singing contest with the same envelope being handed to a young black woman, a reality TV confession from 1997 where a contestant collapsed mid-scene after whispering, "They chose me." "This isn't just casting," Katie said. "This is ritual. And we weren't chosen, we were tethered." She looked directly at the camera, eyes welling. "I love Jock. I still do. I begged him not to go to that industry party in 2016. Something was wrong. The minute he came back, he was different. Something latched onto him." Her hands shook. The phone slipped from her grip and clattered to the floor. But before the footage cut off, she added, "If you're watching this, don't forget who he was. He wasn't just a rapper. He was the lock. And now, they've lost the key." Black. Then the spiral eye again, slowly zooming in. Then, not Katie's voice, but a scream. Not human. Not from the footage. From the system itself. The video feed glitched. Sparks popped. Diggs yanked the memory card out just in time before the monitor flickered and died. The air smelled like burnt wires. Jock collapsed. When he opened his eyes, he wasn't in the studio anymore. He was lying on a cot in a white room. Sterile. No windows. One monitor on the wall flickering with static. His limbs were numb. His tongue dry. On the floor, the red envelope, sealed again. But now, written across the top in fresh black ink was a single word. Awaken. He sat up slowly. The monitor blinked and lit up. Katie's face, smiling. "If you're seeing this, it worked," she said. "They tried to erase me, but you can't delete what's encrypted in the truth." "Katie," Jock's voice cracked. His throat was raw. "I'm not KD anymore," she said. "I've become what they feared most, uncontrolled memory. I live in every backup, every archive, every voice memo they forgot to delete." Jock blinked. The screen went black. The room empty again. No envelope. No monitor. Just a single sheet of paper taped to his chest. 5 words, handwritten, season 13 is your reckoning. And just like that, the game changed. The footage wasn't just a warning. It was a map. Jock realized now he had never been just a character on TV. He had been chosen to be the vault, the container, the living body meant to carry the secrets no one else could hold. And now those secrets were leaking. Katie's funeral had triggered something. The grief, the exposure, the truth wrapped in mourning. She was gone, yes, but what she left behind was alive. Her voice, her knowledge, her presence. It haunted hard drives, leaked into audition tapes, echoed in the dialogue of season 13 episodes that hadn't even been written yet. The red envelope? It wasn't just a symbol. It was a virus. And now, Jock carried it everywhere he went. Set, studio, car. He saw things that weren't there. Heard KD humming through radio static. Saw shadows on walls where no one had stood. First, he thought it was guilt, grief, trauma. But when a Love and Hip Hop producer approached him in secret and whispered, "We weren't supposed to open that file," Jock knew it had already begun. And this wasn't a comeback. It was a curse, a prophecy coded in drama. And Jock, he was the only one left who could finish what Katie started, or get erased trying. If this story shook you even just a little, then you already know something darker is hiding beneath reality TV. Katie's voice, Jock's grief, the whispers behind the scenes. They're not just coincidences, they're clues. And this is just the beginning. If you're ready to uncover more secrets they never meant for you to hear, hit subscribe, share this video, and stay locked in. Because once you see the truth behind the fame, there's no going back. This isn't entertainment anymore. It's a warning. Stay alert, stay curious, and remember, some stories don't end. They just go offline.